Hey, coffee experts. Those of you running independent coffee shops, you're always looking for ways that you can drop your costs. And we here at the Coffee Experts Club really understand that. And so we've started something called Indie Coffee Coalition. And what it's designed to do is to drop your costs on two of the things that you're probably experiencing the highest sales volume in your store. And that is energy drink and frat mix. Those two line items, we've created our own products and are offering you those products at a reduced cost so that you can cut out the Red Bull of America. You can cut out the main lines of energy drinks that you're doing and serve your own energy drink at a reduced cost on a line item that you're probably already making a lot of sales on anyway. The best way that you can grow sales is by dropping your costs and maintaining a current volume. So check us out at indiecoffee.co and we'll love to tell you more there.
Welcome to the Coffee Experts Club, where we discuss all of the insights, expertise, and drama that goes into making your passion your profession. Our hosts, Aaron, Ben, and Drew, are three coffee experts who have taken their coffee experience and turned it into true expertise. They have consulted with major coffee brands throughout the United States and beyond, providing operations expertise and growth strategy for drive-through openings, multiple locations, and everything in between. So brew yourself a cup and hang out a bit with the Coffee Experts Club.
Hey. Good morning, afternoon, evening, or night, coffee experts. Welcome to our show.
What is that? Is that the Truman Show? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Is that, yeah? Or is that Bruce Almighty?
One of the two.
One of those Jim Carreys. Well, coffee experts, welcome back to another installment of our riveting series. I'd say 10 part, 20 part, but it's infinite part. So stay tuned for forever. If you're thinking about opening up a coffee shop, this is the perfect place for you. We do have a specialized focus on drive-thrus, but we help with cafes as well. So any interest in the inner workings of how to, why to, and inspiration to, you're in the right place.
And when to, right?
And yeah, when to is important also. So today, Aaron is MIA for with some family. So he's going to be missing the call today, which means we can talk as much trash as we want. And he defenseless. Today, we'll be talking about our grand opening that we're having here down in Belize. It's our third location, second drive-through location on the island. And Ben and I thought it was perfect time to discuss the inner workings of the chaos that happens just before the opening.
Always the chaos. I figured too, I'm sure there's a lot of people who, listen to the podcast, getting the information, who are probably either getting ready to, or building up towards their grand opening. I figured it'd be, since you're in like the thick of it at this moment, to give them insight into this is what happens with a grand opening. We've joked about plenty of times, it's always, we've done this, I don't even know how many times now. It's always, no matter how well you plan, and how well you've ordered all of your equipment ahead of time, you've ordered all your product, you've got the perfect schedule written. There's always something right down to the minute. You're like, God, I wish we had one more week. And obviously that's no different for you guys. It's always something. I think especially for you guys down there, right? It's like that I wish I had one more week is a bit different because it's not like you can just run down to Walmart and buy some more vanilla syrup or something like that.
Yeah. It's like orchestrating the symphony, you know what I mean? Because we don't want to have an empty building collecting dust, and we don't want to plan an opening date before we have our equipment or our inventory or our vendors lined up or our baristas staffed and trained, our site ready. There's all these things that you have to plan months in advance, to try to get them all to land on the right day. So inevitably there's going to be a week, 2 weeks, together, whatever way that happens to fall.
Would you say it's some of the same challenges? Cause this is obviously location number 3. Are you dealing with some of the same challenges you dealt with on the previous location, or is it change every time? Obviously there's a bit you can learn okay, I should probably start training 3 weeks ahead of time versus 1 week ahead of time, that sort of stuff. Is it the same, or are you dealing with different stuff?
Yeah. We've been so blessed with our business to be so well supported. So the first 2 times we had the situation where our equipment hadn't shown up. So the first time I was training baristas on theory only, pretty much, and, pantomiming how to make coffee. And last time we didn't have a building So we didn't really have time to train the baristas. This time we do have this building that I'm sitting in front of. And so we're training here, but we are still dealing with the timeline being so crunched that our grand opening is happening very near when the building is being handed off. I'm not sure if that's always going to be the case. I hope it's not. But there are always unknowns. So this time the staff wasn't exactly a problem. We've been, like I said, blessed. We had a ton of applicants. So our management team actually hired and trained. This is the first batch of people that I didn't train myself. So second, third generation, whatever you want to call it, coming into the store. So it's seemingly always something different, but the stress always feels the same.
Yep. Would you, so, and that brings up an interesting idea that I floated a lot. I remember back in the day of, do we need to do a grand opening? Can we do a soft opening for like 2-3 weeks and then we do a big celebration? Like, is that something that you would recommend or is an idea? Or, you guys obviously aren't doing that. I guess, what would you say, what would you have against doing something like that even?
So I think soft opening is great, but only for maybe a day or two, and that's to put some high pressure on your systems to see if they work, to see if your setup is correct, to see if your equipment is in the right place, see if your baristas know what's going on. For me personally, I like the idea of a grand opening really early on. I wouldn't do a week or 2 week of soft opening because then the grand opening is not nearly as impactful. Depending on what deals you're doing. Obviously, we're doing free drinks, which the clients have done in the past. It's always going to be incredible turnout. But if, like, let's say you're opening into a new market or a new side of town or a new customer base, you really want to put your best foot forward with a big celebration. You want to put a lot of noise at it, a lot of lights, a lot of colors, some giveaways, some free stuff, some advertisements, because that's going to be what the customers remember. And that's my first experience at Cafe de las Mayas was I got free drink. The baristas were awesome. The music was loud. Everybody was having fun. Because really it's a big, we're celebrating the growth of our business essentially. And that's kind of what a grand opening is, a big party, to invite your customer base to come celebrate with you. So I think the soft opening is great for, putting pressure on your systems, but grand opening really early on for me personally, I think is a good way to make a splash.
No, that definitely makes sense. And I think it's just like you said, especially if you're moving into a new market, a new area, like, I think the bad side of that soft opening for an extended soft opening is if you're moving to that new area and like nobody even knows who you are, you could be like, yeah, we're going to do a soft opening for a couple weeks. That's great, but you probably won't have any customers for a couple of weeks. So it's like, why even bother? Just do a big grand opening. No, I totally agree with you there. When it comes to, I guess, practical advice you could give people who are maybe in the beginnings or getting ready to do a grand opening, what would you say is one or two of the key things that, you seem to either like always trip up on or like are always like, okay, we have to do this thing, whether it be staffing or stocking or building wise, anything like that? Any key advice you give to people?
I would say the first and foremost is advertise properly and advertise well. We've done things where we didn't advertise with enough time and we're slightly, unimpressed with the turnout. So make sure, you have a marketing campaign ahead of time, even before you open, if, let's say it's your first store, do things that are incorporating your business into the community already. Go out to local businesses, talk to people, post things of the store coming up and before and after pictures of getting your counters installed or getting new furniture, or if you're doing any artwork, like get the people excited who are following your page. Advertising is huge. When it comes to staffing, train them hands-on. Don't train them like you're miming. And really drill them, Yeah, do some role play, make them uncomfortable because they can get comfortable with you in training when it's just you and them. But it's a whole different story when you're facing, 15, 20 cars. I almost said carts because we do golf carts here. We put some pressure on those kids to make sure that they're ready. And even if you have a robust staff, or let's say you have some barista friends that are going to come work the grand opening for you to take pressure off those kids, have those kids there, expose them to that traffic, just so that they can see what the business can do. And then also what's possible as a barista, because I think a lot of these younger kids who are just starting, there's a slow way to do coffee and it's great. It's not exactly what we do. And then another word of advice is just coordinate with vendors. One of the worst things you can do out the gate is have to start telling customers you don't have something that's on your menu. Just bad impressions, even if it's something simple like one of your alternative milks, you know what I mean? Just be prepared, spend the money, because it's a lot cheaper to spend that money than it is to lose the customers on the back end. So
That's a good point. That's a
those
good
are
point.
just some hoops we've jumped through.
And I know in the past we've done, like, for grand opening day, limited menus, like, because you said alternative milks. I remember, like, in the past we had done like only soy milk available as an alternative milk, or only soy and almond milk. Are you guys going to be doing a sort of limited menu like that on grand opening day, or no?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we do one of our signatures. It's our, how we talked about have a Big Mac, right? Big Mac for your business. We
Mm-hmm.
do our Big Mac. And then we select a couple of other popular drinks, simple drinks, nothing complicated, nothing with more than 2 flavors in it.
Yep.
For speed, obviously that's something you don't want people in line for an hour, to get one drink.
Yep.
So limit the menu down. If you're serving smoothies, choose one kind, strawberry, something simple, something easy. If you're doing energy drinks, same thing. And then, yeah, for our alternative milks, we only ever really carry 2, but we do limit it down to 1, for grand opening day. So that's something we didn't do on the first stand. And to be totally honest, we didn't expect the turnout that we got, which was great, but also kicked my ass. And 6 shot drinks all day. And we didn't have a limit either. So we were like, as many as we want. Until we were getting 15 drink lists with one person in line. And we're like, never mind. Like, you need to understand, the situation. And you got 50 people. You don't order 15 drinks from me.
Yep.
It's not their job to understand. It's our job to provide those guardrails, for ourselves and the customers. So yeah, we're going to be limiting down our menu for the items that we're selling, and then also for how many people can order. I think we do a 2 per person.
Yep.
For that first day.
I think that's a great point. I mean, we talk about grand openings all the time and like doing free drinks or discounted drinks. And I'm sure people are like, why the heck would you do that? And I mean, I've always, for the end of time, have been against the free drinks, but that's just me. In an emerging, if you're in a brand new market, it makes total sense. But if you are going to do that, even if you're going to do like $2 drinks, like, the way you make that feasible is you have a very, very limited menu, so that your baristas aren't having to run all over the shop trying to find flavors. And so it makes that first, stock order really simple. We are ordering one type of smoothie. We're ordering 3 syrups. We're ordering 1 size of cup. It just makes it that much easier to sort of ease into your business, because our first giant order is just like 12 things. And all we're serving is 4 types of drinks. And your customers come through and they're like, oh, all you have is this? You're like, well, yeah, but it's free today. And tomorrow we're going to have our full menu. We just doing it today so we can get everybody through it as quickly as possible and make sure we give you something good. And then, yeah, like you said, like the limiting it to, 2 or 1 per person. The second you say free or discount anything, you've got like, John from The Office is going to go down and get drinks for everybody. So the second you open it up, they're like, hey, John, go down, get 12 6-shot blended caramel frappuccinos. And then your poor baristas 25 minutes later are like, what the heck did we just do?
Exactly how it goes. And you'll still have people sneak in with that.
Oh, of course.
Like, let me talk to your manager. Like, I'm so sorry. That's me. But you will have that. No matter what you do, no matter what guardrails you have, you're going to have to call an audible occasionally during the day.
Hey, experts, we've got something really awesome that we do here at Coffee Experts Club, and that's called the My First Drive-Through Coffee Masterclass. So if you're opening your next coffee shop, I think a lot of times you may think to yourself, I know what goes into opening a coffee shop. I've been doing this for years, but maybe you've been doing it for somebody else. And maybe this is your first option of starting a coffee shop on your own. Or maybe you don't know anything about coffee and you're just like, I'm looking for a good investment opportunity. Starting a coffee shop seems like a good place to put it, and you're going to enter into it. But what you don't know is all the things that you don't know, right? And so what we've done with this masterclass is taken behind the scenes, how you find your first location, what you need to be thinking about in finding a location. We give you a gift in the masterclass where it's a step-by-step process of how you're opening your coffee shop, the different checkpoints you need from coming up with your plans and talking with the city and then negotiating a lease. And then how do you build a team and what are the different pieces you need to be thinking about? It's a great masterclass, door to door, start to finish, completely free on opening up your next coffee drive-through. So check it out. It's at myfirstdrivethrough.coffee. And It's a great masterclass. You won't regret it. We'll see you on the inside there.
I remember for some of our grand openings for roasters, we were able to pre-make. I mean, we're only serving like blended mochas, strawberry smoothies, a couple other items. So we actually were able to have those drinks made, 2 or 3 minutes in advance, so they were fresh. And I mean, when you're serving hundreds of people, speed is one of your best friends.
Yeah, if you've got one type of, especially in the summer, like that's such an easy thing to do, and that's a great piece of advice. If you're doing blended drinks, have somebody who's on the blender just stockpiling, because guaranteed, especially in the summer, like you're gonna have people come through. They're like, "Oh, you have iced coffee or a blended coffee or a smoothie? Okay, give me a blended coffee and a smoothie." You're like, "Bam, here's one right out of the fridge." That transaction is literally 20 seconds of, "Hey, how's it going? Great to see you. Here's your blended mocha. See you tomorrow." And you can blitz through lines like that versus, your barista making one single made to order blended mocha each and every time. Just stockpile the crap out of that. That's something that you don't really learn until you get into it. And you're like, "Oh, we should have just had like a fridge full of blended mochas."
Yes. Yes. And I mean, it gets to the point, maybe another go back to the advice thing is staff your stronger people in the afternoon. Because I've worked a whole day and it's like, okay, coffee shops, traditionally, stereotypically, the morning is the rush, right? You're never going to get a rush like you're going to get the afternoon of the grand opening if you're offering free drinks, discounted drinks. There's nothing like it. And you, who probably are working all day, are not going to perform as well in the afternoon as you did in the morning. And you're going to start seeing double and thinking in doubles. So staff strong people afternoon and just make sure that you're ready for that chaos. And I mean, preparedness is going to be something that you can't put a price on that.
I remember more than a couple times, and how we learned that lesson was we'd staff up the morning so heavy, and it's like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and you're like, "Oh no, did our grand opening fail? Like we've had like 30 customers an hour. Like, did we do something wrong?" And then it starts picking up. You're like, "Okay, this is a little bit more busy. Okay, this is like probably what like a normal coffee shop is like. Okay, we've got our customers now." And then like 1 o'clock hits or 3 o'clock when school gets out, and you're just like, "Oh my God, my poor baristas."
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Having flashbacks here and flash forwards, I guess, huh? Because our grand opening's a week from today, so I'll have some reviews on how it went.
Yeah. So how heavily are you staffing? Do you bring in people from your other shops to kind of beef up the amount of people you have on the floor? Or is it kind of like the skeleton crew you have now is what you're working with?
It has been before the skeleton crew. We were a little bit more prepared this time. The first 2 stores we opened were miles and miles apart from each other. These stores, they're both on an island, right? So we have a little bit more availability. So we're actually moving our veterans from the stand that I'm at right now up to the north side. We're bringing in 2 people from the mainland, 2 for the price of 1. They're a couple, which makes it nice. And they're both baristas. So if you can swing that, that's cheaper to buy hotel stays. But yeah, we're going to run a skeleton crew here. I imagine there won't be too much traffic at the stand if we're doing cheaper drinks up north. So we'll do a skeleton crew here and most of our strong baristas up there. I don't know the number of people we have, but it'll be plenty. I think the crew that we hired, I think we have 8 people. So we're going to have 7 of them over there. We're going to leave 1 here. And then we'll have 2 people from the mainland, myself, and several people from this stand, like 4 people from this stand. So I mean, a total of like 14 or 15 people.
Push those golf carts through.
Yeah. I mean, you can't be over prepared for a grand opening.
No, that's a great point too. Like it's great if you can send some people home.
Yeah.
Like try calling in a barista on a grand opening and say, "Hey, it's insane here. Would you mind coming and helping out?" Good luck with that.
Like, did you say it's insane? Yeah, I'm actually busy.
But if you can send some people home, that's great. Like you're like, "Hey, you did awesome. You're looking kind of tired. Go ahead and head out." But there's no way. I would be impressed if you could call somebody in to work on a grand opening, but I don't see that really happening too well.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to cycle people on bar. It's not like a regular day.
Yep.
Anyone who hasn't been through it, it's really hard to describe the mental fatigue that can happen from making blended mocha, triple blended mocha, blended white mocha with caramel over and over and over and over for hours. You're trying to keep it straight in your head. So a break, a little break here, 10, 15 minutes, a little food, like you're going to probably want to feed your baristas. those things, make sure they're drinking water. Like, I know we say drink water, eat food on a normal day. It's great, but you don't really notice the difference if you don't eat well. These days, on those days, grand opening days, you'll notice the baristas that are more prepared. You'll notice the baristas who slept good and ate good and are drinking water. You'll feel it in yourself. So, yeah, cycle people through, send people home, make sure everybody's well taken care of.
Yeah, I think that's actually a good point to kind of wrap it up. Like, what is the typical like grand opening day for your morning, afternoon, and evening baristas? How do you? I don't know if you can break that out in a sort of condensed way of like how you work them through the shift, how you cycle them out. Like, how does that look if I was to walk into your shop, on grand opening day as a barista? What would I expect to be doing for my duties for that day?
If you are a veteran, you're going to be either performing or in charge of shots, because shots is going to be doing shots and flavor, which is probably the bulk of the work, but you don't have to deal with much except for a screen in front of you and what's going on with the machines. So either shots or on the blender for grand opening, because unless you're opening it, and probably even in wintertime, the blendeds are always the best seller because they're generally the most expensive drink on your menu, and suddenly they're the same price as everything else. So your veteran baristas will be in charge of the highest traffic stations, shots and flavor or blendeds, and they'll probably have a helper who's not as well versed in baristaing to help get them ice and keep things in order and just to relay information. You'll probably work a spot for a good 2 or 3 hours, and then you'll get a little break, cycle off, and maybe cycle into the next position. And of course, there's support roles. You're going to be running around. The people who are either really intimidated or don't really have enough experience are going to be the ones who you're going to have someone have to be cleaning all the time. Cleaning up grinds, spilled milk, spilled sauces, syrups, cleaning mix cups, cleaning spoons, getting ice. Like we use a lot of ice. And it's just making sure everyone's okay. And then, you're also going to have, that's just in internal on bar, you're going to have people in the back room who are going to be running, lids, cups, straws, make sure you don't run out of things that you need. If you do sticker your cups, we sticker our cups. You don't have label cups. You have to make sure everything's stickered that goes out the window. So there's the front lines, which is your shots, your blendeds. And then of course the person on window. It's a very simple day. Everything's $5, $2 free, whatever. They're just handing out drinks, and all the orders are going to be taken beforehand. So that's inside, plus the support roles. And then outside, you have traffic control, which Ben was our specialized agent when it came to that.
Because I couldn't pull shots anymore. That's why.
Bro, I'm getting about to that same age you were when you jumped. So traffic control is, you can't overstate how important that is. It's, people get angry. People will road rage in your drive through if you don't have somebody. You can put out cones. They don't. I don't care. So you want someone out here, probably a few people, one person directing traffic, one person greeting people, telling them our offerings, and then the next person taking orders, send them in on whatever running system you have. Yeah. And then, I'll always take an additional barista who can go get supplies for us if we run out, or, hey, go get us some pizza. You know what I mean? Just cycle in, give someone breaks. But sometimes we'll have a person who will just go in and work 15 minutes in each position to give the people breaks who are doing the brunt of the work. So that wasn't really condensed, but that's kind of how it's going to work for us.
No, I think that's a great breakdown. Because if I'm opening a coffee shop and you're talking about grand opening, you're talking about free drinks, and how insane it could be. Like I'm like, where do I even start with how that should be run? I think that's a really good, condensed version of like, this is what you'll see. And then you just take that picture and stretch it out over, your 7 hours of business, however long you're open. Do not overstaff in the morning. You'll be dead in the morning.
Yes.
You will, from like 9 or 10 o'clock, at least for the States, just 9 o'clock onwards in the morning is where you'll start ramping up, and you will peak at like 2:30, 3 o'clock, and that will be the busiest you'll be. And if you can keep your baristas sane, happy, fed, and the party going at that point, then you'll be golden.
Check in with people. They won't tell you when they're struggling. We had a barista cry. It sounds mean because I laughed, but he was working on the blendeds and he was new. He was one of the newer people, and we did an anniversary. It wasn't a grand opening. And it was the blended mocha, blended triple mocha, blah, 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 repeatedly. It's like, I just need to go home. The manager of the store was like, he's like, dude, we got like 2 hours left. Just keep making blendeds. And he's like, okay, I got this. And he's still with us. And he's like, man, I'm glad I went through that. It can be stressful. check on your people, make sure that they're sane, because it can go south fast.
Yeah, force them to take a break, especially because like if you're on shots, dude, you are locked in. Like I've been there where like if you're on shots, you're just like you become so tunnel vision and the entire world ends. You're just pulling shots, pulling shots. Like you have to be like, hey, dude, you've been pulling shots for 3 hours straight. I'm gonna need you to go sit down for a minute, have some pizza, take a break. You know, we'll call you back when we need you.
And usually they give you a wild-eyed look and say no. All right, you see that look? I'm in it right now, bro. Don't take me out. Right? You got to make sure you get them breaks.
I love it. Well, Drew, if we don't talk to you before, then good luck on the grand opening. I hope this is a little helpful for anybody else who's about ready to go through it.
Thanks, man. Me too.
All righty. Well, we'll talk to you all later, and hopefully De Los Mayas has a great grand opening.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much for joining us today. For those of you who are looking to become a coffee expert yourself, we offer an incredible, thorough training online for opening your first coffee drive-thru at www.myfirstdrivethru.coffee.